Welcome everyone to episode 6 of our Smart Add-Ons That Make a Difference from Hire to Retire series. Each session in this series focuses on one of the Sage HRMS add-ons that helps organizations work smarter across that whole employee lifecycle. And today's focus is Sage HRMS HR Analytics. That's a web-based reporting and analytics solution that gives you clear visibility into your HR and payroll data. I'm Joe Rotella, the Chief Value Officer at Delphia Consulting. I'm joined by Brian Delphia, the CEO of Delphia Consulting. Delphia is an HRMS business partner and the publisher of more add-ons for Sage HRMS than any other organization in the world. So Brian will be running today's live demo so you can see HR Analytics in action. And this session is designed to be pretty fast-paced and very practical. I'm going to start with a quick overview. Then we're going to jump into a demo that will be about 30 minutes, and then some key takeaways. At any time, if you have questions, please post them in the Q&A box. We have a team of folks here behind the scenes to help answer those. If we don't get to any of those during the presentation, we have a slot at the end for Q&A, and if we still can't get to it, I promise we'll follow up. By the end of the session, I hope you'll understand how analytics helps HR teams move from manual reports to real-time insights, and why so many HRMS clients consider it an essential part of their Sage HRMS ecosphere. So since we're talking about the ecosphere, let me give you a quick kind of illustrations of that. Analytics is one of the Sage HRMS smart add-ons that connects directly to your core HR and payroll data. It delivers real-time dashboards, interactive reports, and automated scheduling all through the browser. What makes it stand out is how accessible it is. HR, payroll, and even managers can see the data they need when they need it without relying on IT or crystal reports. So in short, HR Analytics turns HR and payroll data into decisions, helping you move from reactive reporting to proactive insights. And it's really part of this whole Sage HRMS ecosphere. You can see some of the wedges there in that kind of wheel: applicant tracking, onboarding, benefits management, time and attendance, payroll, employee and manager self-service, so ESS and MSS, performance management, training management, analytics, that's where we are today, alerts and workflow, we're going to talk about that in the next episode, and then some utilities. So at the end, I'm going to share links where you can see more pieces of this circle, if you will, that have been recorded. And then we're also planning what the series will be like in 2026, what information we're going to bring to you as part of these webinars. So if anything sparks your interest, if you're like, ooh, I wish you would do a session on blank, please put that in the questions and answers box as well, even though it's not a question, because we're really looking for input to make this really valuable for you. So with that, I'm going to dive into HR Analytics, and let's talk a little bit about why HR Analytics matters. Now, for many HR and payroll teams, reporting has always been a huge pain point. You run a crystal report. Well, first you had to probably get the crystal report made. And for many of you, you had to go to IT to get it made. And that means you have to bear gifts, of Mountain Dew and things like that, and then get on their queue and all that jazz. So then you get the report made. Then you got to run the report. Then you realize, oh, I need to change the parameters a bit. So then you got to start all over and rerun it again and just go through this cycle like that. Well, analytics completely changes that. So first, speed. It's web-based, so reports load instantly, and you can change filters or columns right on the fly. Second would be clarity. All your HR and payroll data comes from a single, consistent source of truth, the single point of truth, Sage HRMS. That means there's no version confusion or mismatched spreadsheets floating around. Third is empowerment. Managers and leaders can view the data that matters to them without needing full HRMS access. That means you don't need any more HRMS licenses. That keeps security tight while improving visibility. Fourth, strategic HR. Instead of spending time building reports, you can spend the time analyzing the data that you see through the dashboards and the interactive displays that are part of HR Analytics. And finally, trust and accountability. Scheduled delivery and standardized views ensures that everyone, from HR to finance to the C-suite, you can even give access to these reports to folks who don't work for your organization. Maybe it's your accountant, or maybe you have a board of advisors, things like that. Everyone, though, is looking at the same accurate information. That information is always up to date right at the time they click to see it. So in short, analytics gives HR the credibility and efficiency it's always wanted. Real time, real data, no waiting. So let's be honest, reporting has always been a hard part of the whole HR data, HRMS, HRIS world, right? Most teams still rely on static crystal reports that require someone with some technical skills to modify them. And then once you get the report, you typically export it to Excel, then you make manual edits, and then before long, everybody's working with different versions of the truth. On top of that, sometimes your data definitions aren't consistent. So headcount can mean one thing in HR, but finance thinks of it some other way. And when leadership asks for an update, you often have to rerun the entire report, and sometimes then go to Excel and reformat and all that, which takes time and creates delays. With Sage HRMS HR Analytics, all of that changes. Reports are web-based and interactive, so you can adjust what you're seeing in real time. The data is live and consistent, straight from HRMS. And you can even schedule reports to deliver automatically, so the right people get the right information on time, every time. So it's a shift from spending time building reports to spending time, basically using the data that you get. So let's look at what makes Sage HRMS Analytics different. First, it's a modern web-based analytics solution designed specifically for Sage HRMS. That means you can access it securely from any browser without needing to install HRMS or Crystal reports. And it has hundreds of pre-built reports that cover everything from demographic information to turnover to payroll history to benefits and compliance. Now, if you look at this slide there where it says hundreds of pre-built reports, lots of the things on this page, you see the underlines, those are links. So when you get the handout for today's session, it's a PDF. Any place you see an underline, you can click. And in most cases, it's going to take you right to that section of the HR analytics documentation that's online. So you can see it, exactly what you'd see with the product. Now, each report is interactive, so you can filter, sort, you can drill down in some cases, and then you can schedule these for automatic delivery as, PDF or Excel, or it's role-based. You can safely give access to HR staff, payroll admins, even managers, while maintaining complete control over who sees what. So in short, HR analytics makes it easy to turn HR and payroll data into clear, consistent insights. So you can focus on decisions instead of on wrangling with the data. When we talk to customers about what they love most about Sage HRMS Analytics, three things always come up. First, ease of use, the ability to interact with data in real time. No crystal reports, no waiting on IT. They just filter, serve around, and get the answers they need instantly. Second, automatic delivery. Analytics takes routine reporting off your plate. You set it once, and scheduled reports are delivered automatically to managers and executives. And third is dashboards and insights. Analytics turns those tables of numbers into visuals and summaries that tell a story. Whether it's tracking headcount trends, payroll variances, or turnover by department, managers can instantly see what's happening and take action. So together, those three benefits, ease, automation, and visibility, are what customers say makes analytics indispensable. So, all right, enough with the slides. Let's see HR analytics in action. Now, I want to give you a little idea of what Brian's going to show us. He's going to walk us through a live demo so you can see how simple it is to get from HRMS data to usable insights. We're going to start with a quick look at navigation and the reports catalog. Then he'll move on to interacting with data, hiding columns and filtering, seeing details. From there, he's going to explore how to save views as bookmarks, build dashboards, and even schedule reports to run automatically. And then we're going to wrap up with some powerful payroll examples and a quick tour of the Data Explorer for users who really want to go beyond the hundreds. I think there's almost 300, hundreds of pre-built reports. So Brian, with that, I'm going to turn over to you, turn off my camera to give us more screen real estate. Are you ready to roll? I think you're on mute.
I'm ready. Just get myself organized. All right. Well, thanks, Joe. The first thing we're going to do is just look at the navigation. of the application. So when you first log in, you're going to land on bookmarks, right? And we're going to come back to bookmarks in pretty good detail. We'll also discuss the dashboard and scheduling and data explorer. But before we do that, I just want to talk about HR reports. People, total rewards, risk, talent, workforce, these are the core HR reports. You can create a filter and you can share filters if you want to engage, like here we have some first, second, third quarter filters. I'll explain all these filters, but when you set filters here, they get inherited any place else you go. So let's just look also at HR administration. These reports are going to be about HR actions data and also about scrubbing your data, keeping it clean. It's going to give you exceptions, who's reporting to a terminated manager, things of that nature. We have payroll in the US, payroll in Canada, and if you're HRMS users and you've created custom details pages, we automatically create a report for all of those. So Joe mentioned that there's field level security, right? So I'm logged in as Veronica Bell, and Veronica is both a manager and an admin. In our little company, she's the VP of HR. So if she only wanted to see her direct reports and below, she'd switch to manager. And then if she were in that mode, this would say switch to admin. Users are members of a group, or a security group, and you have control over what reports that security group sees and what fields they see. So even though you've given somebody an access to a report, you can still deprive their ability to see a particular column of data. It just will come in as blank. You can define what you might consider personally identifiable information, and you're able to deny access to that for a group of users with a single mouse click. It's pretty cool. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just explore a report. All right, so we're going to go to people, employee organization, and I'm going to run the anniversary list. If you look in the background, there's a little question mark here. If you click on that, it'll take you to that same link that's in your handout for the reports catalog. So let's talk about the layout of standard reports. First off, we call this little section our base filter, and it might have things that are specific to the report you're running. For example, if this is an anniversary date, what do you want to base anniversary on? Whoops. Seniority date, last hire, time off service date, original hire date, the first non-null value of any of those numbers, and as of when. So if I wanted to say right now, I'm doing this as of a month from now, right? And I can change the date. So I can future date this, that's a month from now. This section is called our standard filter. And this might look vaguely familiar to those of you who are familiar with Sage HRMS. You know, you can filter on employer, the divisions, these are the org levels you have, employee status. You can hone in on a single employee by ID, first name, last name, social security number. And since this is an anniversary report, I might want to filter because we're having a Christmas party. We recognize our 5, 10, 15 year employees at this time. So I just check off which ones I want. You can see it's here, 10, 15, 25, 30. I apply those filters. And you'll see this data shrink from about 3 pages, probably to a single page, right? So just 8 people are having their anniversary in 5, 10, or 15. Now, there's a lot of parameters here, but you don't have to look at them all the time. You can hide those. Under this section, this enables you to control what fields you'd like on this report. We've tried to anticipate that, right? So for example, if I, for some reason, wanted, oh, let's put the department on here. I can click department, I can say apply and save. And in a second, you're going to see another column appear here for the indicating the department. We also have multi-column, so here's the department that just came in. You also can sort these things as well. Of course, you couldn't have a report writer without being able to print it, without being able to export it to Excel or CVS, or bookmark it. We're going to go into bookmarks here in a bit, or schedule, right? And you can control the number of pages. So that's just the basics on navigation. So let's turn our attentions to dashboards and bookmarks. So bookmarks, whenever you fill out a report and you've answered how you want it run, when you want it to have it run, as of when, you can save it. Bookmarking is like saving a report with its parameters, so that next time you run it, it's going to run the exact same way. So you can organize bookmarks. For example, here, I can't, I've already done it. I have organized my work for today in this presentation in a ISB webinar series bookmark folder, right? We're going to go through all of these reports. You can organize things. For example, if I just go to my items and I wanted this particular report to be under my quarterly reports, I just drag and drop. You can also share reports. So if somebody has shared a report with me, then it'll be under shared with me. And I only have one. So if I go back up here, let me show you how we share a bookmark. If I wanted to share this, I could click that little person icon, and it's going to display who I could possibly share it with from a manager perspective or admin users. And I can see right now this is only shared with one person. But if I wanted to share it with another individual or a whole group, I'll do it with a group. I just click on that, and now Mary Stewart is doing that. If I go to the second page, I misspoke. Here's where you would share it with a whole group. So if I did this, everybody who's a member of that group is going to automatically inherit this report.
And Brian, when you share it, you're not sending them like a snapshot of the data at that moment in time.
Yeah, it's all real time. So it's just sending them literally the parameter screen to run the report, and it'll go from there. So
I mean, it's kind of like sharing a link on the web to CNN or something. I mean, anybody who hits it, they're always going to see the latest version.
Very much so. So let's look at another report. This is one of my favorite ones because I've never met a person in HR who's enjoyed this topic, turnover. So I have bookmarked this report to run. And one of the things I didn't mention here is we have the ability to do sliding dates. Now, if you pay attention, I'm running this for an unrealistic period, 2010 to 2025, because I only have 50 people in my sample company, and they got terminated a little while ago. But you can run your turnover reports for any date range. And if I do this with sliding dates and make this more of a beginning, first day of last month, last day of last month, or current month, it will then, whenever you run this report from the scheduler or from the bookmark, it'll automatically use those dynamic dates. So if I'm in early November and I said do it last month, it's going to be giving me October turnover. If I'm in June, it'll be giving me May turnover if I did the beginning and then them on sliding dates. So the biggest question I've ever had whenever we produce a turnover report for somebody is, how did you come up with this? Show me the numbers, right? So here's my turnover, and we are trying to make it pretty simple. We have the beginning head count, the people who were hired, who was terminated, and the period head count, and then of course our turnover percentage. So if I want to explore the details, I literally click on detail, and it will tell me exactly who made up this turnover report, and were they in the starting number, were they hired, were they terminated, and are they in the ending number. And we even know that we put a little proof in here, because sometimes you can mess up your history records, and you might have a number here. It would say, please run the exceptions report. It'll tell you what you have to do to fix your history records appropriately. So let's go ahead and bookmark this report. No, let's not bookmark it. Well, we'll do that. We'll bookmark it. Okay, so I'm going to call this my turnover report. It's already bookmarked, but I'm going to bookmark it again. Turnover 2, let's put an R in there. All right, so that's adding it to my bookmarks. But suppose I want to run this report on, I don't know, the 5th day of every month or something like that. I can schedule it. So scheduling is really powerful. You can schedule it once, daily, weekly, monthly. You give it a start time. You give it a start date. You can give it just a name, something that makes sense to you. You know, this is going to be the last month's turnover. All right. Now, put in the email address of who you want to send this to. So if you've got to send something to your insurance broker, some census data, you put their email address in, put your email address in, you're both going to get the same email. Now, when this report is running, when we run it, whose security should it run under, right? And what role, either manager or administrative role, and what do we want our output to be? Do we want to dump it out into a spreadsheet or CSV or a PDF, either showing the filters or not? So I'm going to go ahead and just save this. And if I go back to scheduler now, here's last month's turnover report, right? And I just did it at 2:22 p.m., right? Now, I can edit this and make changes to it. I can also add an end date here if I wish to. The other thing is, subject to permissions, you can have an administrator, usually this is somebody in your HR function or your HRIS coordinator. You'll notice here in the created by, I have my name, Veronica Bell, but I also have John Wayne and Joe Black. So with subject to that permissions, a user can see everybody's scheduler and see what's happening and assist and aid or clean up as necessary. Okay, so we're going to get into some payroll reports. So let me go up here and I'm going to go to bookmark. And the first report I want to run is down here in my saved folder, right? So I want to run my check comparison report. And while that runs, I'm going to for the consideration of time, I'm going to run a couple other reports too here, just get them started and kicked off in the background. All right, now I should tell you, the report that I'm running is rather intense, okay? What this report does is it's an aid to the payroll user. It compares this payroll, the processing of you know, you're in process, you haven't posted it yet, right? Which, speaking of which, if I look at the payroll menus, we have filters similar to the HR filters, right? You can save those and share those. And so if you're working on a particular payroll, you can set the filter, and then you don't have to set the filter each time you run various payroll reports. It'll just inherit it for that day's work. This is unprocessed payroll, and this is a processed payroll. So what we've done, and I had to find some good payrolls to compare here, but I just ran a payroll dated 10/9. It's still unposted. It's actively processing, right? And I'm comparing it to another check date. Well, I had to go back and find some check dates that had some anomalies, because in our sample data, we run a pretty consistent payroll time in and time again. If you think about payroll, it has a series of accumulators, right? And we're going to present the payroll in we're going to present several things here. Let me show you just on the hours. I'm going to highlight this little section right here. Okay, sorry, this is small. Hours is the hours that are from this payroll. Compare hours are from the payroll that I put on 6/6/2024. And then it will compute a difference in dollar amounts and a difference, or a quantity, not dollars, this is hours, and a percentage. And it does that, those four things, this check, last check, the difference, the percentage difference. And it does it for all these categories of the accumulator buckets: employee amount, base employer amount, employee amount, employer amount, base employer amount, earnings. And that's pretty difficult to understand that if you're not a payroll user, but if you're a serious payroll user for HRMS, you're probably going to know what those things are. Now, we can slice this every which way to Sunday, right? So let me hide my columns. And what I've done here is there's a real quick way to get to some differences. I can look at rows with no current check or rows with no comparison check. In other words, it's in the current check, but for whatever reason, it wasn't in the comparison check, right? So this one is really powerful. If it happened before, but it's not happening now, why? So if I look here, this is filtered down to just a few things that have an absolute difference between the previous check on 6/4 and the current check, right? Now, you don't assign check numbers until you finalize payroll. So this will come in, if this were in the current check, it would have a 0 as the check number and the check date. But if it's all blank, then I know that Hugh Allen didn't get his commission pay this time. If he's supposed to get commissions every payroll or whatever I'm processing this payroll, then that stands out like a sore thumb. Oh, I need to make sure I didn't omit that. I know when I processed payroll yesterday to prepare for this, I didn't go through and complete the garnishment manager process. So I can see here, I have 2 employees, Hugh Allen and Sharon Barnes, that one's missing a child support deduction and the other's missing a student loan deduction. So before I finalize payroll, I want to make sure I use the garnishment manager and get those child support and student loan deductions in. I'm not sure what's going on with this one. This is saying that Veronica Bell, that's who I'm logged in as, and Shirley Douglas, who's the CFO, for whatever reason, they don't have any 401k deduction. So this is what they had on 6/6, but they have nothing now. You also can configure these. You can look at these by category: earnings, deductions, accruals, or code. So you can sort this information every which way. The next report that I want to run is the benefits arrears. So if you're in a situation where maybe you have people who are covered by insurance, but they have a variable schedule and they don't always work every pay period. Maybe they miss a pay period or 2. If you've ever been in a situation where you're trying to make sure that, hey, have I collected from the employee the benefits that I am paying for, right? Have I deducted the appropriate deductions? So what I've done here is in the evaluation period, I'm looking for this calendar year from 1/1 to 10/9, my check date, all right? And then just for simplicity, I've filtered on a single employee to make it easier. Otherwise, you get a little overwhelmed in the volume of data. But for just this one employee, I can see that for my dental plan, I would expect thus far this year a $463 deduction. However, I've only deducted $456. So I have under deducted by $6.91, or in the next row, in the case of $61.62. Now, you can put a threshold here and exclude amounts, right? So if you have a policy of, look, we're not going to worry about anything under 10 bucks, right? You could put $10 right here, click apply filters, and it would get rid of everything on this page except for this $161 one, right? Now, up in here in our base filter, we have a catch-up percent. So this is asking the question, okay, if somebody's in arrears how much do you want to catch up on this next payroll? It might be a bit much to do all of it, right? Doubling up on deductions perhaps, but maybe we're going to catch up 50% of the rearage. So what we've got here is, here's the current deduction, $23. That's normally what would be deducted. Then if I go to the over and under 691, divide that by 2, I'm taking 50% of it, add the normal deduction and half of the over underage, and now I will, on this payroll, only want to deduct $29.99, actually a little bit more than the normal deduction. And you can select the time card date and click this link, and it will actually create the time card file that you can import into payroll. So that's benefit arrears. Let's just take a quick look at the payroll reporting menu, because we only looked at a couple of them. I look at the processing menu. There's a whole lot of reports, right? Everything you could possibly want. And if you want to know what this report looks like, you can just click. Well, let's look at one we haven't done yet. Let's look at earnings summary by employee. I can just click on that triangle. It's going to take me, or that question mark. It's going to take me out to the reports catalog, and here it is. Here's my earnings summary, and we have this report runs where it's 1 row per person, and then if you click print, it'll actually give all of the details behind the employee. So this is the reports catalog that is in your hyperlink, and once you're here, feel free to look around. It explains a whole lot about analytics within the online help. Okay, so most of these reports are also in history, right? Plus, there's a few reports that you can't really run until after the fact, like say your workers' comp and some of those. So there's in year-to-date, month-to-date type reports, those aren't on the current payroll, but so there's more reports under history. And we're just not US-centric. We also support the fine folks in Canada, and it's pretty similar, right? There's some slight differences, checks spelled differently, but it's pretty basic. And then under employee, this is where you can actually see what your tax setup. This is a reporting for the employee setup records. So let's go back to bookmarks. And I'm going to go to Data Explorer. So I'm going to first just show you Data Explorer, and then I'm going to hop into one that I've saved because I've done a lot of work that would take me too long to do in front of you. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is select what data I want to look at, right? Everything that's in the HRMS database is out there, right? So the most common view is what we call the person view. This is, if you know HRMS, it's the HR personnel table, right? So if I pick a table, and I'm just going to pick a small table so it doesn't take too much time. And once you've picked a single table, you are then able to pick more tables, right? So actually, I picked a bad table. I don't have any more tables, but I could, if I picked person, then I could pick events, right? And if you're familiar with joins, you can get it to where you get everybody in the system and the other table, which maybe some people have the record. So I think that's a left join, and then we also do a right join. So you get just the employees who meet the child record criteria. I hope that makes sense.
But the users, Brian, they're not doing any of this join stuff.
Oh no, it's all done. It's all done for them. Yeah, you just pick it, right? So then you can create formulas and filters and add charts. But let me go into one that I've already set up. So this ISB Data Explorer. So you can see that when I'm on my Data Explorer, any saved filters or saved reports will be here. Remember, Explorer is the entire database. It's a blank slate, blank piece of paper. So here the report has come up. All right, we can first look at data. Right now, I haven't selected everything because the more data you select, the longer it takes. Right, here's where I was a good example. Here's where I can say, all right, I want person in education, right, or I want the left join of that. So I want all people or just people with education records. And literally all of the tables within the system, get here, are there. So it's, have at it, it's all there. Once you pick a secondary table, you'd apply your selection. Or if I added or subtracted a field here, I would apply my selection. So this is the data that I've got. When I select that data, it will then create at the very bottom a table. Now, there's all sorts of things you can do here with respect to formatting, right? So if I right mouse click, I can sort, filter, group, aggregate, format, put conditional formatting together. If you've got, here's Canadian operations, I could group duplicate cells, so it would group all of these together. There's a whole lot of formatting you can do within just the table, which is where you can create a report of your own liking. Now, there's a whole lot more to do too. So one is I can create formulas. So if you need calculated fields, whatever, it's fairly basic report writer. It's intuitive. Give your column a new name. What is its formula? Here's an example of a formula. I've called it retirement at 65. And the formula is the birth date plus the product of 65 times 365, right? So this is what's going to enable me to plot retirements on a graph. I can also filter. If I'm plotting retirements on a graph, those are active employees, they haven't retired yet. So maybe I want to eliminate all my terminated people by only selecting active individuals. And then I can click on add a chart and crosstab. This is an example of crosstab. And when you click on add crosstab, this is what it looks like. So this is simply, some people think of this as like a pivot table, but here I'm saying I want to know and what I'm actually doing is the average age, very old database here with old people, the average age by department within the two companies that I have in my Sage HRMS system. So this demo data was created quite a year ago. These people were middle aged when they were first entered into the system. Another example of a graph or chart is here I have average annual pay by gender. And what's nice here is if you watch this, if I click on or off, and this is by EEO class, okay, so you could have additional column here. But if I click off all of these, then I can see, right, all right, for my sales workers, this is where we are, male, female, and what their compensation is. That doesn't look like a good situation. I can show them all, right? Or I can drill around. So this is an example of interactive charts. Now, we have lots of styles of charts. We have a line chart, curved line, pie, scatter, heat map, and gauge. I think I have most of these examples below. So this is a line chart with colored coloration. This is the number of insured dependents. That looks like a really strange report, given dependents wouldn't be that old. That must be the age of the employee. Here is that retirement chart, right? So by year, how many retirements do I anticipate for in 2030, looks like, right? Another just simple pie chart. Let's change this one. This right now is, I'm just showing my percentage. Let's actually show the values. Right, so those are dollar amounts. Or I could look at average. Right, so here's my average salary per each of those departments. Here's an annual pay in dollars plotted by age. Right? So you can see you have access to the entire database, and you can create a report, and you can format that report conditionally. You can add columns, calculate things, you can filter, and graphically, you can add things to a chart or a crosstab. Now, when I look at my charts here, my graphs, this is the gear is how I edit it. I can delete it, don't want to do that, but I can also do this. And I don't think I have this, I haven't published this yet. So I'm going to click on this little add to dashboard here, right? Click that. And I can give it a name or just accept its default. I'll just accept its default. Now, if I go to the dashboard, and I've got a really packed dashboard, it takes a second to come up. And the reason is it's recalculating all of those graphs in real time as I get to that dashboard. It's not looking at last night's data or last week's data. It's looking at right now. So each user can control what they want to see on their dashboard. And you can either give people access to Data Explorer, or you can deprive them complete access. But remember, permissions are enforced. So if you've gone through and said, hey, this group of users is not allowed to see personally identifiable information, then a user who has access, a member of that group, will not see any personally identifiable information within Data Explorer. So you have real granular security. So here's the dashboards come up. I have several tabs here. This is the and this is the one we just did. This is where it published, right? Department by employer code and on average of age, right? So there's my report. A little wide for this one, but that's okay. This is one of my favorites. This will show if there were any terminated employees that are still active in payroll, right? That's a great thing to know. We showed you earlier where these are interactive, right? I can get rid of them all, say, let's look at machine operators. So it's interesting, when I use this on my own company's data, I won't tell you what I found, but it was very insightful. You don't see the things in just a report as much as you do if you were looking at them graphically.
Well, I think just like the name implies, it kind of encourages you to explore your data.
Exactly.
And you'll see things you may never have noticed before.
Right. So, and you can create tabs. I've created compensation. There's a performance tab. And when I go to that tab, see that little dial, it's going to go out there and grab that data right now. Not last week, right now.
And it could be a lot of data.
Yeah, and my little server here is not very powerful either. So I do want to show you one little thing in the administrative side of things. This is where we set up analytics. So if I go to security, this is where we have our user groups, right? And within any group, right, I have the ability to edit it. And this is where we're going to get quite granular. I have the ability to say what this user has access to. So for example, do they have the ability to edit everybody's schedule or not, right? Can they edit visible columns or not? This one is pretty cool. If you think about Sage HRMS of the years gone by, then the canned reports that are embedded inside the user interface, there's no changing those, right? But if I go back to analytics and I look at any report, and maybe I'll just look at real quick one, the contact info report. There's this thing called designer, right? It's this little gear right here. I can do it before I get into the report, or I can get into the report and do it afterwards. But this is opening up the report definition so that you can put in whatever fields you feel like, even though we didn't think about it. Right, so the little gear right here, these are the fields we anticipated, right? But if I click on that gear, it's going to go bring up the designer. And if I wanted to say I need Aboriginal code and these other fields on that report, I just save. I can also put the report back to the way we shipped it, click back to the report, and now I'm going to have a bunch of Aboriginal fields and active duty discharge field on that report. So Joe, that's a really speedy overview of all the power there is in HR analytics.
Well, Brian, I think that was great. And hopefully everybody could see how Sage HRMS HR Analytics moves you beyond those static reports to real-time interactive insights and even automation, right? So whether you're a longtime user or just getting started, analytics helps you make data-based decisions with confidence. So we're going to switch back to the slides here. I just have a couple more to wrap up. And I wanted to start with some key takeaways. First, real-time visibility. Analytics gives you instant access to the data you need, whether you need it, whenever you need it right now, right through your browser. Second, automated reporting. You can schedule reports to deliver on time, every time, freeing HR and payroll teams from repetitive manual tasks. Third, interactive dashboards. Analytics makes it easy to build and share visuals that turn data into insights for decision makers. And finally, that trusted partnership. HR Analytics is developed and supported by Delphi Consulting, a Sage ASV partner for more than 20 years now, and like I said earlier, a publisher of more Sage HRMS add-ons than any other company in the world. So together, these capabilities help you move from chasing data to using it, and it gives HR and payroll the clarity, consistency, and confidence to drive better results. So let's explore the next step that fits you best. You could schedule a one-on-one conversation with us, and we'll walk you through your organization's reporting needs. We'll show examples, and we can work together to decide if HR Analytics is the right fit for you. And second, if you already use Sage HRMS HR Actions, you can try HR Analytics live with your own data for a couple weeks. It's a guided experience that lets you see how the tool fits your workflow. When you have Sage HRMS HR Actions, there's a set of reports that come with HR Analytics, HR Actions. They're powered by HR Analytics. It's just that the bulk of analytics is turned off. You just get that small subset of reports. So basically, we'll work with you to get you a temporary license to turn on all the rest of the 200 and some reports, because I think there's 300 total. So you can play with it right in your data, in your environment. So I'm going to pop up a quick poll now to see if you would like to continue that conversation. Let me get that up. There it goes. So if you'd like a one-on-one conversation, just select that first option. If your organization already uses HR Actions and you choose the second option, then we'll work with you to get you that 2-week trial. And if now's not the right time, you can just let us know and we'll send you some more information. You can review it whenever you want and get back to us. Let us know what's up to you. So I'm going to leave this open for a little bit. And if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and post those in the questions box. I think we've got a team of folks here who can help make that magic happen and answer those. And I'm going to close out this poll. We just need a couple more responses out there so we cover everybody. I'm going to close out this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So thanks to everyone out there who responded to the poll. And if you have any additional questions, as I said, just post them right in that Q&A answer box. We'll try to take as many as we can. If we run out of time, don't worry, we'll follow up with you directly and after today's session. So Brian, there was one question in there now about support for payroll. Is it just Sage HRMS US payroll? Like what are all the options there from the payroll perspective? I think you're on mute if you're talking.
Yes, I was on mute. It's either US payroll or Canadian payroll for Sage HRMS or Sage 300.
So US, HRMS US, HRMS Canada, and 300.
Sage 300 US, Sage 300 Canada.
And then I have another quick question in there about, I think this is coming from an experienced user, but they were talking about the data integrity reports.
Sure. So we selfishly embedded these a long time ago to support HR actions, because if your workflows and HR actions are dependent on department, if you have somebody missing a department, that's a problem, right? So you have a chain of command, direct report exceptions. And what's nice is we put a little description, because I can't remember what they all are. This is a direct report exceptions lists all active and LOA employees that share the same org level as the user running this report. All right. Job code validation, missing email addresses. You're not going to alert anybody if that's missing. And my favorite is, where is it? Missing, there it is, invalid manager list. This is where the manager is terminated, doesn't have an email, something of that nature. When you run this, you'll always have one person, probably the president of the organization, because they don't have a boss.
And then a question about that reports catalog.
Mm-hmm.
What's that list look like? Can you jump over to the real thing?
Yeah, so it's really nice. I mean, the help is great here. I can click on the reports catalog, and I'll click on two things. And I'm going to click on just this help right here, okay? So here's the reports catalog, and it's at, which one did I do? Right. This is how you run reports. So everything I explained at the beginning about the base filter and all of this, that's there. And if I go to the reports catalog, it starts here, right? And it found the exact report I was on, and I can it found the category of reports, data integrity, and then there's a whole bunch of reports. But if I wanted to look at the invalid supervisor list, I can just click on it and it will take me to what that report looks like. And I can go back to the top. So the reports catalog is accessible. It's in the handout. You don't have to have application to get to it. But when you're in the application, it's super quick just to
go back to that screen. It starts there under people reports, right?
Yeah, so HR action, whoops, sorry about that. My mouse is going spastic on me. So under HR analytics, it's everything to set it up, how to use it, and then here's the reports catalog. And I open that up, and it follows pretty much the menu: people, total rewards, risk, talent, workforce, our HR administration reports, then US and Canada payroll reports. And we don't know what your custom details are, so we haven't got them here, but we explain that we automatically create reports based on your custom details panels.
And if you click one like people reports.
Yep. And then it's going to, I have these subfolders under people. I have contact, just a few. I have employee organization. We use one of these. We explored the anniversary list.
So there was 4 under contact, 8 here's 12.
Yeah.
Job has.
Are you trying to count these up? 6 here.
Personal information. We're up to 18.
Oh, it's
24 and just one more under wellness. So just under people, there were 30 reports, and then you see all the categories. So that was perfect, Brian. So I need to wrap us up. I'm going to jump us back to the slide deck. Just as a reminder, this was session 6, episode number 6 in our Smart Add-Ons That Make a Difference from Hire to Retire series. You can see what all the other previous 5 of them are there, and I've got links to 4 out of the 5 where we have a recording. The second one, we've had some glitches with the recording, but there's 4 recordings. You can just click on those and watch those anytime. Then we'll make an update and send you an email that has a link to today's recording. The final session is on December 2nd, and that focuses on alerts and workflow, your invisible assistant that helps automate communication, reminders, and approvals in Sage HRMS, but really, it can monitor any of your databases, your apps, websites, email addresses. It's really a business application monitor, or BAM. So that's going to be on December 2nd. And I'm going to pop up a quick poll now to see if you'd like us to register you for that one. If you'd like us to register you for alerts and workflow on December the 2nd, just check the box. It'll be 2 o'clock, just like today. We'll automatically sign you up with GoTo and send you that email that has that unique registration link. And then if you want to be notified of the webinars that we're doing in 2026, just check that box and we'll be sure that you are on the latest list. So GoTo says it's distributing the poll. It looks like it's a little bit slow. I think it's finally out there right now, so pretty good. That's working out pretty good. So if you could let us know if you want us to sign you up for alerts and workflow, or be notified of the ones in 26, or both. You can select more than one here. Just let me know, and I'm going to close out this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So for those of you who joined me today for the first time, this series highlights the Sage HRMS ecosystem, the add-on solutions that extend your core HRMS system from hire to retire. We've covered everything so far this year, from applicant tracking and onboarding to time and attendance, manager and employee self-service with Sage HRMS HR Actions, performance management with Maviva, and then today's focus on Sage HRMS HR Analytics. As I mentioned, our final session will complete that circle with alerts and workflow, showing how automation can tie all of this together. Sage HRMS and its ecosystem are ready to help you get more done with less effort. On behalf of the entire team here at Delphia Consulting and our partners here in Sage, thank you for spending time with us today. I hope you found our session helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again for our final webinar in this series. If you have any ideas for topics of what you'd like us to cover in 2026, please reach out to me or Sage any way. Get the signal out there. Find us on LinkedIn. Let us know. Raise the flag. Because we're planning 2026 now, and I would love to have your input on that. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you on December 2nd. And if not, I hope to see you in 2026, because there's lots of good news, lots of excitement coming down the pipe with Sage HRMS. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody. And bye for now.